What can I say about Gen X? Well, I am Gen X. We were basically feral children who raised ourselves since both parents worked. We worked, we bought, we're entrepreneurs, we have retirements lined up, and a lot of us own homes. So today is going to be a tribute to my people, a little Gen X weird on today's episode of 5 Weird Things. Welcome to the channel. I like to think of my generation as problem solvers. We didn't fall out of college and immediately into marriage and kids. We planned things. Workarounds are how we approach life. If it's not working, change it. Something sorely lacking in the generations that came after. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. All right, let's get into it. First, the things we should all know. Generation X refers to the demographic cohort typically spanning from the early 1960s to the early 1980s. The exact time frame can vary slightly depending on the source. Gen X follows the baby boomers and precedes the millennials, also known as Gen Y. Members of Gen X experienced a variety of cultural and societal shifts, including the rise of personal computers, the internet, and other technological advancements. They also witnessed significant political and economic changes, such as the end of the Cold War, the rise of neoliberal economic policies, and the globalization of markets. Gen X is often characterized as independent, adaptable, and skeptical of authority. Now, they grew up during a time of rapid change and are sometimes seen as being caught between the more idealistic baby boomers and the tech-savvy millennials. This generation has had a significant influence on culture, technology, and business. Thing number 5, the birth of video games. Gen X witnessed the emergence of pioneering gaming consoles that laid the foundation for the modern video game industry. One notable example is the Atari 2600. I had one. Released in 1977. Which brought arcade-style gaming into people's homes and became a cultural phenomenon among Gen Xers. Gen Xers were deeply immersed in the arcade culture of the 1980s, spending countless hours in arcades playing classic games like Pac-Man, Space Invaders, and Donkey Kong. Arcades were social hubs where young people gathered to compete, socialize, and immerse themselves in the latest gaming trends. Gen X witnessed the rise of home computers in the 1980s, which played a pivotal role in shaping their relationship with video games. Personal computers like the Commodore 64 and the Apple II introduced Gen Xers to a wide range of gaming experiences, from text-based adventures to early graphical games, fostering their interest in technology and interactive entertainment. Number 4. Gen X presidents. Barack Obama, 44th President of the United States and a member of Gen X, is known to be a comic book fan. He has mentioned in interviews his fondness for comics, particularly Spider-Man and Conan the Barbarian. His interest in comics has been reflected in some speeches and public appearances. Bill Clinton, 42nd President of the United States, showcased his musical talents during his time in office. Clinton, a Gen Xer, played the saxophone and even made appearances playing it on various television shows, including the Arsenio Hall show. His saxophone skills added to his charismatic image and helped him connect with younger voters. Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada and a member of Gen X, is known for his love of Star Wars. Trudeau has been spotted attending Star Wars conventions and even dressed as characters from the franchise, such as Han Solo and Darth Vader. His enthusiasm for Star Wars has become a quirky aspect of his public persona. Weird thing number 3. The explosion of the Space Shuttle Challenger. One of the crew members of the Space Shuttle Challenger was Krista McAuliffe, who was selected as part of NASA's Teacher in Space project. McAuliffe was a high school teacher from New Hampshire and was set to become the first civilian teacher in space. Her presence on the Challenger mission captured the imagination of students across the United States and emphasized the importance of space exploration in education. The Challenger disaster had a profound impact on education, particularly among Gen X students. Many schools across the United States had planned to broadcast the Challenger launch live in classrooms, as McAuliffe's presence made it a highly anticipated event. The tragic explosion of the shuttle led to a reevaluation of the risks associated with space travel and prompted discussions about how to address such events in educational settings. The Challenger disaster occurred during a time when television was a primary source of news and information, and Gen X witnessed the events unfold live on television, and the shocking images of the space shuttle exploding just seconds after liftoff left a lasting impression on many young viewers. The emotional impact of the tragedy, coupled with the loss of McAuliffe and the other crew members, reverberated throughout Gen X and contributed to a collective sense of mourning and reflection. Weird thing number 2, delayed milestones. Unlike previous generations, Gen Xers, born roughly between 1965 and 1980, have faced challenges in achieving homeownership. Many of them entered the job market during economic downturns such as the recession of the early 1990s and the dot-com bust of the early 2000s. These economic hurdles, coupled with increasing housing prices, have led to delayed ownership among Gen Xers compared to previous generations. Baby boomers left college or the military and bought houses and got married immediately. Gen Xers put it off until it was much more economically feasible. Gen Xers are also known for delaying major life milestones such as marriage and parenthood. Factors contributing to this delay include pursuing higher education, establishing careers first, and a shift in societal norms towards prioritizing personal fulfillment and autonomy. Additionally, economic uncertainty and the rising cost of living have made it more of a challenge for Gen Xers to settle down and start families at a younger age. Gen Xers are often considered the bridge between analog and digital technologies. And while they didn't grow up with smartphones and the internet like millennials, they were early adopters of technology as it emerged in the late 20th century. Despite this, Gen Xers have been slow to adopt certain digital trends compared to younger generations, showcasing a more cautious approach to technology adoption. Gen Xers face unique financial challenges, including saving for retirement while supporting both aging parents and their own children. This sandwich generation phenomenon has led many Gen Xers to prioritize financial stability over traditional milestones like homeownership and marriage. Additionally, Gen Xers were disproportionately affected by the 2008 financial crisis, further impacting their ability to achieve financial milestones on schedule. And finally, weird thing number 1, Latchkey Kids. The term Latchkey Kids originated in the mid-20th century to describe children who returned from school to an empty home because both parents were at work. This phenomenon became more prevalent during the 1970s and 80s due to various social and economic factors, including increasing divorce rates, more mothers entering the workforce, and economic downturns. Latchkey Kids became a cultural symbol of changing societies, representing both the challenges and opportunities of modern family dynamic. Popular media often depicted Latchkey Kids as independent and resourceful, but also vulnerable to the risks of unsupervised time alone, such as accidents, loneliness, and exposure to negative influences. The rise of Latchkey Kids prompted legislative responses to address concerns about child welfare and safety. Some jurisdictions implemented laws requiring a minimum age for children to be left unsupervised, while others established guidelines for parents regarding appropriate childcare arrangements. These legal measures aim to balance the needs of working parents with the protection of children. Research on Latchkey Kids has explored the psychological impact of unsupervised time alone during childhood. And while some studies suggest that Latchkey Kids develop independence, resilience, and problem-solving skills, others highlight potential negative effects such as increased feelings of loneliness, anxiety, and stress. Understanding the long-term effects of Latchkey experience remains an ongoing area of study in psychology and child development. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you liked it. Couldn't care less if you don't. Either way, put your opinions down in the comments. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Share the video if you can. Now, for those still listening, today's code word is do it yourself, DIY. Put that down in the comments to generate some self-reliant karma. Take care. Have a great day.